Good evening and welcome to the Huddy Hui. Apologies for the delay. We just had to switch over internet because our other one wasn't working for some reason. But we are here now and we have our guest on the Hui tonight as well, and Ben Tuiomanufili, who last week had quite possibly one of the best weeks of his rugby career, making his debut for the Wellington Lions last week against Otago. Ben, many thanks for coming on the Hui tonight. How did you find out you were playing against Otago?
First of all, thanks for having me on the show, Brad. But I found out after we just played Tasman B for Centurions the day before. Six gave me a call. It pretty much just told me the good news that that I'll be starting at 8 against Otago. So yeah, it was pretty surreal moment for me.
And what was the feeling like of pulling the Lions jersey on for the first time, but running out onto Forsyth Bar, which is a pretty impressive venue?
It was surreal. Like, it was really one of those moments where you wanted to almost slow down time a little bit more, just so you can enjoy it like fully. But I think if anything, being able to put the jersey on, let alone do it in a good venue, like you said, at Forsyth Bar, it was unreal, man. I couldn't ask for a better debut.
And of course, how did you celebrate your debut in particular? Did you have family and friends down there in Dunedin?
Lots of my family wanted to come down, but unfortunately, flights were a bit expensive. So managed to break the bank to get my wife and my daughter down. Which is my day one. So it was good to have them. But luckily enough for me, I spent 6 years in Dunedin playing rugby there and studying there. So I actually had lots of friends that came to the game. So I didn't feel like I was away from home or anything like that. So yeah, it was really good.
And what feedback did you get from your debut from the coaches?
If anything, it was pretty much just like, now that I know where the level is at, now I know where the expectations need to be. So like as I reflect on it and look back, I can look at the good things that I did, but obviously knowing that, to raise it even more, I got to do a little bit more just to kind of not only meet the level they expect from me, especially at that high level, but also just for myself, just to try and get better as a player individually as well.
And what did you learn from playing at NPC level that you can take into your game?
Oh, I'll tell you one thing. Definitely need to lose weight, 100%. It's all fun games, like having a bit of weight behind you when you play club rugby, but when everyone can tackle and everyone can run and everyone has the ball skills to play from end to end. Weight doesn't really matter if you're already gassed by 20 minutes. So yeah, definitely probably wanted to get a little bit fitter, but also I think if anything, the most apparent thing was that, like, because everyone was doing their job, and everyone excels at a high level, like, it actually made the game more enjoyable. Like, it was really fun, like really like free flowing footy, and so like it was probably one of the most fun footy I've probably ever played, as hard as it was at the time.
Most of this post-season from club rugby, you've been playing for the Wellington Centurions. How has that campaign been?
It's been unreal, way. I think I've really enjoyed my time with the Centurions, especially just not only with the players but also the coaching staff and the management team. Like, really good setup. The focus from the beginning was always about trying to get players up to play for the Lions, and so every week, like, everyone knew that was the expectation coming in. But really strong group. We all got along together really well, and I'm really happy with the way that we performed, throughout our campaign.
A win versus Canterbury last Saturday. What were the keys to that victory?
I think just staying in it more than anything. Like, we've been a bit notorious for this season for having bad starts. I think of all the games that we played, there's only one game where we had a good start, and we ended up losing that game. So I think if anything, the secret recipe for Centurions was to be a slow grinder. But I would say the keys for the game is just literally just trusting our systems. Like, if anything, the message that we'd always preach to our team is always just have fun, like, express yourself. Don't be afraid to, like, throw the ball around. If you want to make a play, like, we got your back type of thing. But just a lot of grit, a lot of grind, a lot of just having each other's backs in that last 5-10 minutes to try and defend as well as we could, and we made the plays when it counted, and we walked away with the win, so it was good.
Being part of the wider squad for the Wellington Lions, how have you found being involved in that camp and also being based up at Trentford?
It's been a real experience, honestly. Like, I think being able to surround yourself with a group of players, especially like the Lions, you know what I mean? Like, this is not just any other regular NPC team. Like, this is the top of the top teams in New Zealand, and having that group of players around you, guys that are long-term veterans and stuff like that, and all the little tricks that they come up with as well. Even I'm not the youngest myself, but even after playing for footy so long, I still found myself still learning lots of little things. And if anything, it just showed me that there's always just something that you can kind of get better at, no matter where you are in your rugby journey. But if anything, they made it a really enjoyable environment. Made it really easy to learn. Again, same thing with the coaching staff, the management team. So to Bernie and Pawson and all of them in pipes, they run a really, really good ship. So, you can see why they have the success that they do.
You were number 8 last Wednesday against Otago. Is that your preferred playing position? If not, why?
Yeah. No, I would say it is now. It's funny because this year I actually decided, kind of for myself, if the Hutt Old Boys, Marist had won the whole entire competition, I was going to retire. So I kind of just said to myself, well, if I'm going to have one more year, I just want to play number 8 and I don't want to play lock anymore. So I literally just from the get-go, just kept telling Moggy, yeah, I'm a number 8. Never played number 8 in the last 6-8 years. Always played either 6 or lock. That's even funny when I went down to Otago, because I know a lot of the players on that team as well as the coaching staff. Everyone was just asking me why I play number 8 now, and I was just like, no, just the change of times type of thing. But nah, it is my preferred position now. I love it. Just runs off the back fence is not.
Where did your rugby journey begin as a junior player?
I've been all over the show quite a bit, to be fair. But my first club was actually for Norths. I played in under 8s a long time ago, and then ended up playing under 10s as well with Norths with Jackson Garden, Bishop and all that. We had a really, really tidy team at the time. And then my family moved into Wellington to get my older brother into zone for Wellington College. And so I shifted from Norths to Pōneke, and I played about 3-4 years at Pōneke. So I would say Pōneke is probably more my OG home club. And then now I'm over at Hutt Old Boys, Marist, because it's the closest club to me.
You're a product of Wellington College, as you mentioned. Your family moved in to get in the zone. How was your time there at one of Wellington's best rugby colleges?
Oh, Red, some would argue the best rugby college, but it was a really, really good time, honestly. I think besides the success and us winning a lot when we were there, we just had a really strong year group, to be fair. So we did win a lot during our time there, but just the caliber of players that we had coming out, obviously you got guys like Linia Pisai, Naso Fa Solomona, James Blackwell, Wes Goosen, all these really, really good players. It's almost impossible to not enjoy that type of footy. And if anything, our headmaster at the time, Roger Moses, he's just the quality guy, and he's a guy that you go to war for any day. So, my experience, I loved it. I would send my son there if I ever have a son, 100% without a doubt, no matter how far it is.
2013, the Wellington College First 15 was a special team. Tell us about that 2013 team.
Yeah, it was a special team, and I think it was a special season. We came into the season with a lot of, I would say we had a bit of hype coming into the season, and quite quickly we lost around 2 to 3 games, whether it be in the preseason or whether it be in that traditional that we lost the stream. But I think the way that we bounced back and went on a win streak all the way up into top 4 was super telling of our character. The thing is even when things were a bit rocky, we never, thought that we weren't going to win the whole thing, regardless of the results, because we knew we had the talent, we knew we had the players, and credit to, the other teams like Stream and stuff like that. They had a really, really good team as well, but we just knew, we had a special group, and so we trusted our systems and came away with a special campaign. Obviously, a couple of injuries heading into top 4 is not super ideal, especially when you're having to shift all your players around into different positions, but, it was an unreal experience, and I think 2030 to this day is probably still the best footy I've ever played, without a doubt.
So the last time Wellington College were at the top 4, tell us about that weekend away, playing 2 games in space of 3 days. And first up, you had to play the juggernaut that is Hamilton Boys from memory.
Yeah. So obviously we went down to Hamilton Boys. They had a really, really good squad that year as well. A couple of Super Rugby players in their team too. But I think like the occasion didn't feel too big, even though we lost. Like it was a bit hard because we didn't have to do a lot of last minute shuffling. Like we lost Tuiomanufili literally the week before to injury, and a couple of other key players as well that have been out as well, like Luke Lupe as well. He was out too, and to name a few. I think Blackwell played with like a super injured like AC joint, but he just played anyway. Like we were a bit banged up all over the park, but we kind of just had to kind of just pull it together, and we actually did. We were really, really, really close to pulling away, but in the last 10 minutes, Hamilton Boys got 2 tries and went away to win up by 12, I think, from memory. But, that memory, I try to keep away as much as possible because obviously that being our last game and not going the way we wanted to, and it wasn't the best feeling. But to be honest, now that I can look back, it's definitely something we can smile on and enjoy when we think about it.
Greg Charlin and Lincoln Rules were the coaches of the first 15. What did they pass down to you and onto your playing career?
I think from top to bottom, one message that they always kind of got across through to us is just get good at the basics. Like I used to be renowned for always dropping the ball in our first 15 team, so everyone used to give me a nickname called Udus. I don't even know what that means, so you can ask the players in the team. But even like whenever I would have those issues, like Charlotte would spend time with me every single time before training, just practicing like high balls and stuff like that. And the little things that he actually taught me when I did start to nail it are things that I still apply to this day, and probably things that I've taught to other younger players before as well. Then you have Rulesy, who's just textbook, by the book, ruck and run. Like everyone, chop low, hit the ruck hard, run hard with intent. Like it's a very straightforward game plan from the two of them, but to be able to execute it for so long at the level that they did, or the amount of success that they did in the way to club, just shows that you don't have to overcomplicate it sometimes.
The final against Silverstream has gone down as one of the great first 15 finals, a high-scoring final. You mentioned the name Pakai Turia, who pulled in a man-of-match performance that day.
Yes. I think everyone remembers the step that went in slow motion that he did on the sideline. I think it was against Kiari from memory. Sorry, Anu, if you're watching. But yeah. Parko was unreal that day. Like he literally just carried us on his back and took us to the win because for whatever reason we could not crack that stream defense. But luckily we were lucky to come away with a few penalties. Shout out to Taiwan, who got the last penalty for us that picked to get us the win at the end. But yeah, that one was probably to this day my most favorite game I've ever played. Like I can't even explain the emotion, like from losing to those guys and then being able to pull it back together, go to quad, win quad, and then come back and get the job done. And that final was it was unreal.
You mentioned the name James Blackwell as well. There was many quality players in that first 15 that have gone on to higher honours in rugby union, but also rugby league as well.
Correct. Yeah, like Blackie's one of a kind. I think like the running joke is that everyone would want to one day have Blackie as Prime Minister here in New Zealand because he's just a quality guy. Like never makes a mistake, super sensible, and then, like to be fair, that's also the way that he like plays rugby as well. Like he's just super technical. When you chuck him out on the field, you're not having to worry about what he's going to do because you know he's going to do his job. And you got obviously guys like Nelson, really really good friend of mine as well, who's doing his thing over in Oz. And then obviously you got Pipusana, you got Wes, even Parkai played for the Lions as well when he was there. Then the Api side, like a lot of talent across the board. So sometimes it's really really easy to forget how good like the talent was that we actually had in that team. Like when you actually look back. Honestly, we probably should have beaten every team by 30 in Wellington. I don't know how we didn't, but star-studded team for sure, 100%.
After Wellington College, you've travelled down to Otago. Tell us why you moved down there.
Honestly, like in high school, I was like, okay, I need to think of something to do after I finished school. And the one subject I was good at was biology. So I was like, okay, I might as well just go to uni and study science. I went down to Otago to study science, but also to give rugby a crack as well. I wanted to give it a really good run. So I spent 6 years down there. Obviously, didn't manage to walk out with anything in terms of rugby accolades, but managed to do some or 20s. Represented Otago at their sevens a few times. It was in their wider squad a lot, but honestly, just couldn't stay healthy. He couldn't get on the field, so I never really got the opportunity that I was hoping for. But you live and you learn. But yeah, mainly just to study, but also to play rugby down there is the main reason I went down.
And what was your degree in? What did you come out with?
That was a Bachelor of Science in Human Anatomy, which is like really helpful if you want to actually continue to use that degree to specialize in like becoming a doctor or a physio or something. But by the time I finished my degree, I actually couldn't be bothered studying anymore. So I just left with a piece of paper that to this day just hangs on my wall and a good reminder of how much money I still owe the government. But yeah. I'm glad I finished it though. I'm glad I got it done.
Of course, you mentioned you played sevens for Otago. You went out to the Nationals in 2018. How did the team go that time?
Not as well as we had hoped. Obviously, everyone's goal was to win it, but it's really weird. Like the national tournaments that we were playing against, like Canterbury and Mid Canterbury and Tasman and all that, Southland, we were actually dominating. Like we were beating all the teams who had won those competitions, I think, as well. And like the moment that we got up to nationals, for some reason we just like, I don't know whether it was the lights or the cameras or like the heat of the moment type thing. It's just typical sevens. Like you just have one or two players who just like all of a sudden start to see the stars and start to do their own thing and stuff like that. And to be honest, just like everyone trying to play by themselves really shot us in the foot. I remember we actually played against Wellington, and I remember that Shriver's brothers just ripped us to shreds. With their play as long as like they actually saw as well. But yeah, it was a good tourney, really really good group. But I think that tournament taught me that I don't want to be a sevens player.
And of course, you got to represent Samoa at the World Cup Under-20s in Italy. Tell us about that experience, and in particular, some of those players have quite familiar names in rugby circles as well.
I've never seen a under-20s team so stacked that it just comes last. I believe we probably had about 6, maybe even 8 Super Rugby players from that squad. Like the thing is that we didn't. It's not that we didn't have a strong team because we actually almost beat Australia. We beat Italy. We lost to Japan, and then we lost to Italy in the final, the relegation final. But it was just our set piece. Like we could not win a scrum to save our life, and as soon as any team found that out, it was like we're just waiting for the yellow card at that point. So we had a really, really tiny team. We were not at set piece. We're probably up there, run with the big boys. But as soon as we get to a scrum, it's just it's tough sweatings, to be fair.
Now, during that time, when I was doing my preparation, I came across this video here. You're pretty handy at drop goals from memory. 44 metres and straight down the middle, and you got your first one better than Josh Ioane, who missed his first. So you're pretty handy at drop goals.
Well, Josh Ioane is actually an old flatmate of mine, and then after that kicking competition, he actually came to my room and asked me for a few tips. So to this day, I ask him a few games every now and then if he needs a little bit more help, especially now that he's in Ireland, help out, but it was a crack up time. Like I think of anything, when I think about that Samoa 27, probably like treated it more as a holiday instead of actually being there for a World Cup. We enjoyed it, there's a balance of enjoying your rugby and enjoying the time. We definitely were way too far to one side of that spectrum. But also no regrets, to be fair.
After you finished down in Otago, you travelled over to Australia, to Melbourne. How was club footy there in Melbourne compared to back in Dunedin and as you've experienced in Wellington?
Yeah, I get asked this question a lot because obviously people um, always just want to know what the competition like is in other places. I would say the physicality is about the same. Like lots of big bodies still. Like everyone knows how to tackle still. Everyone knows how to put on big shots and run the ball and buck people off. Um, but it's just the IQ that's probably the biggest difference, like, and the skill level for sure. But it's a pretty big gap. Like, you have a few really, really good teams, and they run the entire competition because they're all be filled with all the Aussies that know how to play, and half the team that are Kiwis. Like, you look at how it's right now, they got Sitton Midi, they got Stamson, they got Jimmy Stewart, you know what I mean? Folau as well. Like, and they run that entire competition. And then if you look at Footscray, who actually knocked them off this year for the first time, they've got a bunch of, Alpha Fatso and stuff like that. Lots of, Wellington rugby legends. I think the key is Wellington rugby somehow makes their way over to Melbourne and they start winning stuff. But the level is getting better, which is the good thing. I think obviously losing the Rebels is probably not the best thing for rugby over there. But the club level is getting better.
And you moved back to Wellington last year, and you made your debut for Hutt Old Boys Marist. How was that debut? You played Johnsonville first up.
Oh, my first actual debut. I just don't know if it's registered on record because I literally got back that week. But it was actually against OBU the week before.
Yes.
And it was look, it's a debut I'm willing to forget. I got back from Melbourne, and then I told them that I'm pretty keen to come play for their team. And they said to me at the time, they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll ease you into it. We'll give you 3 weeks of like senior first to kind of get your feet wet, and then we'll see how you go." And I was like, "Yeah, perfect," because I haven't trained in about 6 months. I'm unfit. Like, don't be fooled. Because when I was in Melbourne, I was with the Rebels for a bit, but so when I came over, people were like, "Oh, this guy's from the Rebels, so he must be really good." But the fact of the matter was, I didn't train for 6 months, so I was really unfit. I wasn't in shape, and then so on the Thursday of the week that we played OBU, they came up to me and they were like, "Oh, how long do you reckon you could last if you played?" And I was like, 20 minutes tops. Like, I can't give you any more than 20 minutes. And then they're like, "Okay, we'll wait and see." And then they go to name the team, and they're like, "It's starting at one side flanker. Ben Tuiomanufili," and I played 80 minutes. And I was not good. I'll just be honest. I was not good. Any preconceived ideas of how I would be this savior from the Rebels were quickly shut down after that game because I had a horrible game. But yeah, it was actually fun though. Like just getting the level, and I remember that's probably the first time I played against OBU ever, and yeah, I can see why people don't like playing against them.
And of course, you played OBU in the Jubilee Cup semi-final. You got out to a start, but then they got back at the end. What were the learnings from that semi-final against OBU, who went on to win the Jubilee Cup?
Yeah, I haven't been able to actually allow this topic to get away from me because Ants and Tomasi, as well as half the Centurions team, since most of them are OBU, have let me know about that game a few times in the Centurions setup. But yeah, that was a tough game, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, when you feel like when you're on top of a team like OBU, especially when you're dominating them up front, you have to keep the pedal, like, you got to keep the throttle on. And if you let up just for a moment and they get a little bit of a sniff, that's literally all they need. KP and Harkin, without a doubt, the best 19 club I've probably ever seen at club rugby level, just picked us apart, put their forwards in the right place. They got a really tidy forward pack, super clinical. They got guys like Dougal who literally just chops till the bloody sun goes down, chop. Can't have any fun runs against that team because they're all just very, very well drilled. And after talking to Ants and Mussy about it a few times during the Centurions campaign, and honestly, seeing the way that they coached us, I can see why they're such a good team.
Now, you have had the opportunity to play 2 McBain Shields, which is the state of origin of the Hutt Valley between Batoni and McBain Shields. You've played in 2 so far. What has your experience been like? And one, what does it's one,
Yeah.
two, what does Hutt have to do to win it back? And then thirdly, your first time playing, you didn't actually last that long. What happened?
Nah, I literally lasted like 1 minute, and like that's not even an exaggeration. So I don't even
Mm.
know if it's fair to say I've played in two, because I pretty much only played in one.
Yep.
But last year when I did get injured in that first 1 minute, that was just such an unfortunate injury. Someone got tackled into my leg, and I tore my MCL. I was like,
Yep.
classic,
Yep.
how good. So let's just fast forward to this year. But nah, I would say that the same thing applies probably to both. Like I think it's a massive week when it's McBain week.
Mm.
But I feel like when you allow the moment and I guess the size of the moment to get to you, you kind of tend to go away from the way that you like to play. Like I feel like across the two games, we just haven't played the way that we want to play. Like, we allowed Petone to dictate the game, to play it at their speed and do whatever they wanted to do. And then, it was actually kind of good. Obviously we didn't come away with the treats with Jubilee this year, but that loss that we had against them in Spain was really, I feel like, was our turning point, because we were like, okay, like we've clearly got the talent, but we're just not playing a game that's like, the way that it needs to be played. And then obviously we were able to come back the second time when we played Petone and put one on them as well. So, yeah, I need to get one of those before I retire. I can't be 0-3 or 0-4 before I finish up. So, it is an amazing spectacle. Like, I'm really excited for next year's one, especially if we hopefully get the win. That's the goal.
Well, it's at home too as well at the Hutt Rec 2025. But also there's some good things happening at Hutt Old Boys. The Colts this year went undefeated. Tell us about some of the young talent coming through at the club.
Yeah, honestly, like it was, I've only been here for 2 years, so I don't really know too much about what it's like any years prior. But they had a really strong Colts team last year, who probably should have won the whole thing as well. To make this year go back to back, and then to see the team this year like just completely dominate the entire competition, like no one was close. Like I think it's really encouraging, especially just not even just for Old Boys, but just for just like rugby in general, to see that level of high level rugby play from Colts all the way through to Preds. I think if anything, it gets us excited for the future. And for a couple of those boys, especially, there's a few of them who I expect to probably be actually in the Prince squad this year coming up. So, a big challenge for them. It's a big step up, but they showed that they've got the flair and the talent to be able to get the job done when it needs to be done.
In the Instagram post on Wellington Rugby Wednesday night, it was known as a journeyman and a dream chaser. Is that the best way to describe your rugby career, a journeyman and a dream chaser?
I would say like it's definitely been a journey. So I reckon you could say I'm like a journeyman for sure. But dream chaser, not so much anymore. I think when I finished school, and the 6 years I was in Dunedin, that's what it was like, and that's all it was. Like rugby was everything that I thought about. It was everything I talked about. It was the only thing I cared about. Which to be fair, with hindsight now, especially like getting on in my years, like I can look back and be like, sometimes it kind of wasn't that healthy for me, like for my mental and stuff like that. It's almost like if you put all your eggs in one basket and you get a hole in that basket, like your whole world comes crashing down. Like I guess for me at the time, like rugby had become my identity, which now looking back on it, if you make something your identity and then it doesn't work out the way that you want it to, then it can be dangerous. And then I think I found that out really quickly. So this year, the fun thing about this year is that because I was prepared to retire, and I've been telling my wife, and she rolls her eyes at me every week when I tell her there's another game on. I've been telling my wife, friends, family, you name it. If you talk to anyone like this year about someone that's asked me, like people ask me all throughout the year, you trying to crack Lions? And I said to all of them, no. Like I'm not. Like I'm just trying to play footy because I love it. Like I'm just trying to enjoy it while I can, while I'm still, still got legs that work and stuff like that. But I think because I had detached myself from rugby being my identity completely, it actually allowed me to play better because I wasn't stressed. Like I wasn't worrying too much about like all the selectors that are watching or anything like that. Like I actually just got to play good sport. And so I would say, like as an encouragement to like any young players, like it's not bad to be locked into your dream and stuff like that and be a dream chaser. That's not a bad thing. Like, it's not bad to put all your, all your effort into one thing, but don't make it who you are, because if it doesn't work out, and sometimes, unfortunately, in the game of rugby, it doesn't work out. And if it doesn't work out, you're going to be all good. You know what I mean? Like, if you had asked me, oh, we got it, you didn't make the Lions this year, I would have said, nah, I'm fine. Like, I'm all good. Like, I'm looking forward to playing next year. I'm looking forward to playing Eagles footy. Like, my goal, I would say right now, is probably just to get a blazer, and then that's when I'll probably hang it up, to be fair. But yeah, dream chaser, once upon a time. But right now, probably just an aging guy that's just enjoying playing footy, to be honest.
And what's the magic number for a blazer at Hutt Old Boys?
I believe it's 40. Yeah. So 40. So if I play 2 more years, I should be able to get it.
Oh, fantastic. Now, Ben, what do you do outside of rugby, and what occupies the rest of your time?
So my background's actually in sales, but I've just left my job recently, about 2 months ago. So I was the personal training manager that looked after all the personal trainers in Wellington. But I'm actually moving into a new direction now. I'm studying at the moment. I'm currently halfway through my course with real estate. So I'm going to be studying getting my real estate license and then working with Harcourt out of Lower Hutt. That's the plan right now. So yeah, hopefully something I'm looking to head into and really enjoy it. I think it kind of ties into what I was saying before, like the fact that I had something that I was looking to do beyond rugby as well. It's something that got me excited about it. Also, when I came to Saturdays and game days and stuff like that, like I'm not trying to impress the All Blacks every time I play. Like, I'm just trying to make good footy with my mates and stuff like that. And if opportunity comes, I'll take it 100%. But I'm also, it's not the end of the world if it doesn't.
Rest of the Lions campaign, are there any other possible chances that you could be in any of the remaining games of the season?
Yeah, I believe there are, for sure. Like, I think if anything, Stokes has made this quite clear, not only to myself, but all the other guys like Maya and Mark Tolu and all that, as well as Tom, Stan, just stay ready, and that's the thing. So at this time, when I could just be relaxing, well, to be fair, last 2 days I've been doing nothing because I'm sick, but prior to that, it's actually just making sure that I'm fit, I'm ready to go, and if they need me, then they call me, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, even though I'm not in with them every single week, they're still my team, still my boys, so, still my mates and stuff like that. So if I can do whatever I can to help them out, should the need arise, then 100% I'll put my hand up and do it. So, yeah, I don't think the chance is gone until the season's finished.
Ben, it's been fantastic having you on the Hui tonight. You sort of answered my last question that we will see you in club rugby in Wellington in 2025. All the best for the rest of the Lions campaign with the squad, and hopefully you get over your cold very soon.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Ben. I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yes, that is Ben Tuiomanufili. Good interview there, and as I noted at the start, we did have a few little internet issues at the start, but we managed to switch over to a different internet provider, so that was good news just in time for the Hui. So here on Huddy Sports, we haven't got anything on this weekend, but coming up this Saturday is Old Timers Day at Sky Stadium. The Wellington Lions are back at Sky Stadium, and they are playing against Bay of Plenty at Sky Stadium this Saturday at 3:35. That will be a real big game. The Lions looking to bounce back after that disappointing Rainfairly Shield loss against Tasman last Sunday in Blenheim. So hopefully the Lions bounce back and continue on winning at home. Also this weekend is the All Blacks versus Australia, the first Bledisloe at Sydney, and that game kicks off at 5:45 p.m. And weather looking like in Sydney it's going to be pretty good weather for that test match. As always here on Huddy Sports YouTube, we like to thank our sponsors, Mike Pinfold Plumbing and Drain Laying Limited, Louise Reddy, New Zealand Travel Brokers, and Jen Hickton Funeral Directors. So if you're in need of any of their services, reach out to them. They are good, loyal people, particularly in the rugby community. And Louise, of course, is a travel agent. She's travelling around Italy at the moment. So if you're watching from Italy, do reach out and contact her. And always, here on Huddy Sports, we want to keep what we do free. And, we may not have a game to do this weekend, but we have got some other fixtures coming up over the next month or so. But if you want to keep Huddy Sports free, live and free on YouTube, head over to huddysports.co.nz or email us at huddysportsnz@gmail.com or find us on our socials at Instagram and Facebook. Send us a message and help continue what has been a pretty good year on Huddy Sports. So we're roughly probably going to aim for probably at least another handful of Huddy Huis for the rest of the year. Probably try and aim to go till sometime in October. So keep out for a list of those. We'll finish up tonight by looking at the highlights of the under-85 quarter-final of the National Cup between Old Boys University and High School Old Boys from Christchurch. It was a good game. In particular, Old Boys University had to defend for roughly 70 minutes. They fought their way back, having been trailing for a bit, but unfortunately, High School Old Boys ran away in the end with the win. And there was some beauty of plays as well, including two mighty 50-22s. So have a look back and watch those highlights. And that is the Huddy Hui for tonight. I am Brad Hudson. Ciao for now. And Alexander firing out to Henderson. Henderson sees...
He's inside the 50.
Inside the 50.
50-22. Wow, that is a great kick by the Premier. First 5.
Lively lock. They wrestle through the Scallywag defence. There's an advantage being played against the Scallywags now. Now they stretch out for the first try. And it's going to be Ryan McNulty that goes...
I think he was out there. I don't think he got that down.
It's going to be a discussion between the referee and the AR.
That was wonderful play by the...
Summerfield passes it in. Back out to Milne.
50-22.
It's an option and it's going to work.
Wow. Good rugby.
Here's Morgan at the back. He picks and goes himself. Barney Morgan! He's just going to be short.
Go.
And they got the try.
Well, they're not...
Here we go. Fed in by Jack Lau. And they stretch out through Koning. Koning going to the line! Koning scores!
Well, the Light Bears, their defence...
On that time there by the Scallywags. And this could be another try here for
I think he's might
the Light Bears, and it's been awarded